Starting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi minesh-shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Rabbana hab lana min azwajina wa dhurriyyatina qurrata a'yunin waj'alna lil-muttaqina imama. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري ويشرك في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم الحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, we are going to study, inshallah, a new chapter, which is called The Deniers, in original name, the Kafiroon. It is the 18th reveal of the in chronology, historically arranged. No one can make sure 100%, but more or less, content-wise, language-wise, eloquence of the language fits a certain period, which is around the 2nd century of the Revelation, maybe towards the end of the 2nd century of the Revelation. It's a very early revelation. It is important to know that it's one of the early revelations because of the language used here and the title used here, Kafiroon, addressing the men. We will talk about it, a group of people that time, and we will go into details, inshallah, when we start studying it, because deniers are an umbrella term, but at the same time, usually the people around the prophet is described in the language of the Quran, mushrikun, or those people who assign divinity to things, created things, as the creator. This is called mushrik. It means not the creator of the universe, but anything else other than it, to be assigned or given, or assigned the divine quality. That is mushrik. They say association with God or having, that's in other translations, but I don't really feel comfortable about this kind of understanding, not translation. Language is driven from understanding. So I don't feel comfortable personally, because no one says, I believe in God, but at the same time, this is God as well. I don't think so. There is no such. But we have to clarify what makes the term for divine object. So the quality of being divine, what does it mean? You have to be aware of it. What do you mean? So giving or assigning the power to create, to give existence to something, to be, actually more precisely, to be the source of existence of anything, even one atom. This is the source of existence of an atom. It means you are assigning divine power to this thing. We have to understand that. Anything, maybe a person, you are the source of my, for example, pleasure or satisfaction. It means I'm attaching a divine quality to that object. And of course, the source, to be the source of, means the source of existence of this. That is why we have to be very careful to be aware that can it be the source of existence, or can it be the means of existence of something? For example, can I be the source of existence of anything? The famous argument about artists. Artists say, I created this art. We have to question whether did this person gave existence to this art, or this person used his already existing qualities, already existing memories, already given abilities, already given materials. He's just using them. He's not the source of existence, but he is the preference. How do you say? The person who prefers, preferer, or chooser of the one or the other options given, presented to him. So even the quality talent, we call it, he's very talented, is also given. I didn't make, and no one else in the universe made it. So yeah, this person can say, I have tried my best within the given options, opportunities, to develop my given ability into the highest level, which is already existing. It's an interesting point, within the potentiality, already existing potentiality of the talent, the talented person. The talent is there in the form of a seed. Talent is already there given, but like any other quality that human beings have been endowed with. So talent is there as well, but what we have to do, we have to use our free will in order to make it develop in the practical terms. So what we do exercises. But again, while we are doing exercises, we use the already given, prepared means. So we don't create anything, but you can, or the one can say, yes, I used my free will in order to improve it. My classical example is, for example, you may not know anything about any particular discipline, let's say biology or physics or history, whatever, or language. Language is the best example. After learning it, you start speaking. If you don't learn it by making exercise, after exercise, you don't speak the language. It means the potentiality to be able to speak in another language is within already you. You didn't create it, but you make it or chose it to grow. Like the seed has the potentiality, you put it in the soil or right atmosphere within the order of the universe, it gives shoot to any plant. It means the farmer or the person who does this didn't create the plant. It was already there, but attempted or the chosen the option, which is again within the order of the universe, to let the seed grow into a plant. So we have to understand this. So if we are talented about anything, we cannot claim that we are the source of existence of the result. But the people who are superficial and egocentric, they want to attribute any outcome of their actions to themselves. That's egoistic attitude. We should be very careful about it. That's why, for example, I am a strong believer. The believer is the God, the creator of the universe, because the potentiality to believe is given to you. What you did, you asked for it to grow. And the creator gave the opportunity to you to make it grow. That's it. So you have to be thankful to the Creator. If you are a careful person, if you grow something in your garden, you have to be thankful to the one who creates the crops, whatever it is. So we are already in it a little bit, but I wanted to uh, have a small discussion about fasting. So we have to be very careful to purify our heart. Or no. This language doesn't work here. No, what is fasting? I thought fasting is different from. I think I was thinking about it today. Fasting is not very well understood among the people who fast. I am not accusing anybody. I don't know what's going on, but uh, uh, people must concentrate on action because they think fasting has something to do with increasing the action, not increasing the meaning of fasting, and therefore increasing the understanding of the requirements of the fasting. What fasting requires of the person who fasts? For this, the best example is used in the Quran, but the word sawm, same, the same root. So, in order to have a different perspective of the meaning of fasting, we have to use another word. In practical terms, it is explained. But when the word psalm is used in the language related to fasting during the month of Ramadan, is not practically perceivable and understandable because it is a blank statement saying during the Ramadan fast and don't eat output form of it. But in practical terms, it is not. It doesn't give the way to understand what fasting really is. But if we take another example given in the Quran, in terms of Maryam's story, which is mentioned in the Quran, not the story narrated or borrowed from history or Torah tradition. No. As it is told in the Quran. By the way, this part that we are going to discuss today as an introduction to what fasting is, because it's a different perspective, I think, different from the general perspective about fasting. It is most of the stories of the Quran, more or less, not in details, definitely not in details, but this output form of these stories are mentioned in Torah as well. Of course, in great details in rabbinic studies, Talmud and other sources, which are the oral narrations of the rabbi's interpretation or commentary on the Torah. The Torah itself is not very, very long, but together with the commentaries which are added to the main body of Torah and made the Torah into, let's say, from 500, 600 pages to more than 2,000 pages. Or this extra are rabbinic interpretation, like in Islamic tradition, tafsir. Let's say commonly accepted tafsir by the Muslim community. So we don't make this confusion, although some books do something like this. They write the verse, and then in bracket, but today in bracket, tomorrow without bracket. That's what happened to Torah. In bracket, what Ibn Abbas said, what Ibn Umar said, etc., about the interpretation of the related verse. So the same thing happened to Torah. So rabbis interpreted according to the time-limited conditions of the Jewish or children of Israel's history. So what happened later on? Embodied with the original text of Torah, because people started reading it straight away, and brackets dropped. So it is very dangerous. Now, especially in the translations, you see that original text is preserved in Arabic, and translations, brackets, square brackets or brackets. The translation is okay, because it is a personal idea. It's not the Quran. Translations are not the Quran, you know that. So I was joking with the people, the Christian people, can I have a Bible? They used to bring me translation in English. Excuse me, no, not the translation, the Bible itself, the original. They don't have it. So the Torah they have in Hebrew and also Greek. So I do the same joke with those people, especially Turks. They are very proud of it. Can I have it in the States or in the UK? I think, can I have a Quran? They bring me translation. What's that? And unfortunately, it says, now I've seen most of the Quran translations say just as a side notes. Most of the Quran translations say that the meaning in the English translation of the Holy Quran, something like that. But lately, it was a very, very generally distributed by certain circles. I know the circles. There is no, it is our principle not to mention the names. And pure translation of the Quran, and the cover says the Quran, the Holy Quran or something. It's a crime. Huh? It's the beginning of the corruption as Torah went through historically. Because Torah went through it in more than 5,000 years. For 5,000 years. But the Quran is much younger than this. So we have to be careful. We don't know what will happen 1,000 years later. We have to be very careful and very conscious of the preserving the original text. Anyways, this is side note. They also bring the English translation as Quran. Now come back to the part we are going to talk about, which is not mentioned in Torah or rabbinic interpretations. That's very interesting. I can guess why they don't. They omitted this because it didn't make sense to them. Now, the story is this. Maryam was devoted to the temple from the very young childhood by their parents. So she grew in the temple. That is not Quranic, by the way. I have to make it clear. There's historical narration. She grew in the society, in the temple. The people know each other because they are the people who are expected to devote their life for worship, reflection, contemplation, and studying religious matters only. That's it. That's their right. This Levi tribe among the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. They don't work and they don't have any property. For example, if they invade or conquer a land, the land is divided not among 12 tribes, 11 tribes. Levite tribe is not given any part because they are not supposed to deal with anything to do with the world. So this is tribe. That is the tradition. Anyway, it may be related to Muslim community that those people who study religion, they don't have worldly profession. This is very new fashion. But before, farmer or shepherd or I don't know, a merchant, but at the same time, expert on Islamic studies. That was the general practice. Not only I am a religion and I have a status different from other people. It is not originally Islamic at all. So what was the Prophet doing in his early period? He was a shepherd. In his later Medinian period, administrator. So his profession was administration. That's why he was dealing with administration at the same time spreading the message. Not only spreading the message, doing nothing else. No. It's not the Prophet. We have to be careful. But people don't know. Even in Medina, the Prophet had his own camel herd, but looked after by somebody, so they shared the profit. That is the partnership, understanding of the root of the partnership in Islamic tradition. So you can have something and somebody may cultivate it and use it and work on it, so you share the result, whether it's profit or loss, equally. Anyways, so the Prophet was somehow related to other professions as well. That was his income, although he didn't use all the outcome of or the result of profit of income for himself. He was the last one. For example, if the administrator receives a lump of taxes or zakat, whatever you call it, and he used to distribute to the needy ones. If there is something is left, he used to take it as much as he needs. This is personal life, not extra, nothing extra in his life. That was the sunnah of the Prophet in principle. Oh, we jumped from one point to another. So I'll come back. Sorry?
Maryam, we're talking.
Yeah, Maryam, yeah. So Maryam's story is not in Torah, and they dropped it. Then I'm sure it must be so. It must be so because of the comparisons making with other stories. So in this story, Maryam was chased in the very young age. This is also not Quranic age. Quran doesn't mention this kind of things. Even it does, it is symbolic, not real number. So they say she was something like 15, 16 years old when she got pregnant with Jesus, very young. But up to that, she was very well known in the temple as a chaste, pure, modest. So she realized that something going on here. Also, the women know that they are pregnant. After 1 or 2 months, they realize that, oh, I'm pregnant. I must be pregnant. Something is changing in me. So they know that. The women know it, the signs. And when she realized that she is pregnant, she couldn't understand it. Huh? How come that I'm pregnant? As the Quran says now, since no one touched me. The Quran uses a kind language. Quran doesn't use exotic language. No one has touched me. It doesn't mean that another woman didn't touch Maryam. You understand? It's obvious. And I'm pregnant. And how can I explain this? She ran away from them. So she went away and gave birth. The story doesn't need to be detailed here. The Quran says, okay, came back to her tribe because there is no other way for her, because she doesn't have any other income or anything like that. So because she's following, she was a Jew and following Jewish tradition that time, which is quite Shari'i, if you like. They were supposed to follow Torah. It is as you and I are supposed to follow the Quran. It is Sharia. Sharia. It means a legal requirement of Allah, God. So it was for them to legal requirement, come back and follow her position there as to be the person belongs to the temple again, but with the child this time. Wow. Of course, this is Quran. The Quran now starts speaking, including the last part I included. It's in the Quran that she said she was surprised and she got pregnant, and she said, since no one touched me and I'm pregnant, how can I explain this? She was ashamed of it, ran away, and then came back with the child, and everybody said, "Oh, what's that?" We never, that's a Quranic story, we never expect this result from you. How can you be an unchaste, immodest girl? And your parents, you come from a very pure and honest family, and shame on you. What is this? She's thought, now we are getting into fasting, all right? She thought of claiming something. How can she justify it? Because people see the events within the conditions of cause and effect, and no understanding of miracle from a person who's not the prophet, especially a woman. Come on, cannot be the prophet. Women are in Jewish tradition, in some Muslim tradition, not Islamic. Women are not counted either. So in in Jewish tradition is Roman tradition. You know that the Roman police system didn't count animals, women as citizens. I'm taking animal as a specific case. They regarded them as kind of, and they didn't have the right to vote. Did you know? And also slaves. They are not counted. So in Jewish tradition, still, they have to have this Sabbath practice. And at least, I think, 10 people, as far as I know, must be present. In Islamic tradition, in order to have the Friday prayer, you have a certain number of people, at least. According to one tradition, 40, according to another tradition, 3. But these are all interpretations. But in Jewish tradition now is not regarded as interpretations. It is the essence of the Judaic tradition for thousands of years. That's their problem. And let's say in a synagogue on Saturday, there are 7 or 8 men and 20 women. What happens? It's not valid. It's not accepted. Yeah? Okay, that's tradition, we respect. Why did I jump here? Okay, people understand the events within the accustomed order of the universe. They don't accept. Yeah, I know why. I remember why. they don't accept any miraculous demonstration from a non-prophet, which women cannot be a prophet anyways. So even Maryam said, I am appointed as a prophet. They would say, come, are you a man? No, come on, forget about it. Do you understand this attitude? That's why the status of women in Judaic tradition now jumping into Muslim tradition as well. But alhamdulillah, slowly, it is pushed away. It's being pushed away. It is in the progress, alhamdulillah. So the Maryam could not have any way of explaining the event for the people according to their capacity. What the Quran says, she turned back, and after being accused, it's again in the Quran, by her own tribe, shame on you, you dirtied the name of Levi tradition, because Levi tradition, the persons, the people belonging to the tribe, should not have any impure or wrong things, so that they should keep the purity of their lineage. That's why Quran also says, look, you come from a pure family, honorable family lineage, yet you dirty the lineage now, which is a very, very shameful thing. I mean, maybe she deserves to be killed. Now, this much, because it is the stain on the honor of the tribe. One of the members committed adultery. Well, unacceptable. So this accusation was according to the Jewish tradition, forms. So she couldn't explain it. It cannot be miracle for the people, because miracles are only practiced or demonstrated by prophets. She's not a prophet, cannot be a prophet anyways. She didn't claim to be the prophet anyways. She cannot, even if she wanted, as a woman. But this is what the Quran tells us now. She preferred to make sound, the same word, not to speak. Now, if you go to the classical sources, they say, it means sound means, close her mouth, because they don't understand. They didn't want to admit that sound, the concept of fasting, is also related to fasting during Ramadan. People say, okay, I am not going to speak today. I'm fasting, but eating, drinking, that's fasting. This Maryam's fasting. It is famous among some people, the Maryam's fasting. So then they may spoil the tradition of fasting, which includes in it eating, drinking, this kind of things, nothing to do with speech. You can speak, right? But in details, while you are fasting, you are expected to speak only the truth, what is worth to be mentioned. So you have to fast in your speech, not to talk idle things, unnecessary things, like I am doing from time to time, by jumping into other subjects, related sub-subjects. So fasting requires this, but as far as the legal requirement of fasting is not eating, drinking, and this kind of relationships, women, wife and husband relationship, no, from certain time to certain time. Now, he said 3 days. She said 3 days, as the Quran narrates. The people came and she didn't sleep. Fasting. She's fasting. Because what we have to understand, she has no evidence whatsoever that she wasn't a bad girl. You understand what I mean? Didn't commit anything illegal. No way to explain it. So what she did in the Quran, it is very interesting. This is not in the Torah. Pointed to the baby, Jesus in the cradle. It means 1 month, 2 months, 3 months old. Cradle, in the cradle, nothing even walking. That's it. Look at him, sorry. Look at him. It means don't speak. This is fasting. When you have no way of explaining within the order of the universe, you have to see what? Miracle. That is fasting. You have to see the miracle of the Creator. So people are not used to it, but as a believer, you have to understand. We have to understand, not as a believer, really. Believing in God requires that any action, not only exceptional action to the established order, is the miracle of the Creator. See the word now, because, I did this because of my action or something else, a result came out. We usually attribute the events what? To what? Cause and effect within the order. Right? Cause and effect within the order. And it rarely comes into our mind or attracts our attention that the result is miracle. Nothing to do with the cause and effect relationship. That is the order, but any act which is created by the universe within the order of the universe, again, is a miracle. Quran clearly states this in many of its verses. It says they are ayat, they are ayat. Everything is an ayah. Why? Everything is an ayah as far as what? As far as the miracle is concerned, the Prophet's miracles are concerned, as far as each being is concerned in the Quran is also called ayah, second usage, and also sentences of the Quran is also called ayah. Why? They are all from God directly. Quranic sentences are from God's speech. Now, the Prophet's miracles are from God's action, and anything within the order of the universe existing is from God, the Creator. No one can create it. Both of them are combined under the one word in the Quran, exactly the same word, ayah. So when she pointed out to the baby what the people are supposed to see in the existence of the baby, tell me.
The miracle without her.
Miracle.
Yeah.
She didn't make it. Father cannot make it. The presence of the baby is nothing but miracle. Right? But from one aspect, a miracle from God is the miracle of the prophet Jesus himself, not the Maryam. It's a prophetic miracle. My birth is a miraculous birth. Jesus, because from the birth until he died, he was prophet. Not like the Prophet Muhammad, prophethood is given to him at the age of 20 to 40. Jesus' prophethood, the messengership position is given to him when? at the at the
At birth.
at birth. Correct? So it's the miracle of the prophet coming to this world without uh, being confined by the order of the universe in another stage of miraculous happening, prophetic miracle. You understand? Everything is a miracle. Prophets are given certain miracles that the people will take notice of them because something is happening not according to the conditions that the people are accustomed with. If we don't take it as an accustomed way of viewing the world, universe itself becomes everything, every element of the universe becomes a miracle. So it's so easy. So the baby. Now, that is what the Quran says. And the Quran says that another story now. Quran says, and they looked at, surprisingly, saying that how a baby can talk. Oh, look at how ignorant people are. We are. Because we think that the baby cannot talk. We think that talking is only the ability to speak, but the universe talks. Now the Quran says, your feet, your hand, your skin will talk. And the criminal man did something wrong. When God says it is also, of course, how do you say, metaphoric, but at the same time, what is the word? Wait, allegorical or allegorical teaching of the Quran in a certain setting, right? I will ask them, Quran says. Of course, the creator of the universe presents his action. It is expected of the creator to ask the people, what did you understand from my work? What did you make out of it? It means, right? So, but this, the scenario, let's call it scenario, in this scenario that the Quran presents to us to visualize it easily, I will ask the criminal man, oh, I didn't do that. Okay, reject. People always we or I tend to deny my bad actions. Try to make this, produce some excuses and just cover it up. So trying to deny it, God will tell him in the Quran again. This is Quranic. But I'm just, of course, interpreting and try, but it is within the Quran. God will say, okay, ask his skin, complexion, and his feet, his arm, witness against this man. This man, the body of this man. Yeah, the man who resides in the body. And the body will say, yes, we were with him when he was doing that. What does it mean? And the man will say, this is the way of really beautiful way of describing that we would like to defend ourselves in this way. We say, how can you witness, give testimony against me? It's a part of me. They will say it's a beautiful verse of the Quran. That's why recite it, because it is better for you to learn this phrase, the short one. أنتقنا الله الذي أنتق كل شيء. This is one of the most powerful evidence of the Quran. The one The one, look, أنتقنا الله الذي, Allah made us speak as he made us speak, make everything else speak. It means in the universe, everything speaks. Do you understand? In the universe, every single being speaks. So I am a part of the universe. That's why I'm speaking. How do they speak? Now, Jesus will speak now. Jesus' baby body will speak now. I am the messenger of God. Yeah? Do you remember these verses? Who can find that? These verses, yeah, chapter 19. I am the messenger of God. You know what? Every action of creation is the, did you find it?
Yes.
Slowly, loudly, so I will hear and the recording will hear and make it articulated in Arabic.
أشارت إليه قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا.
Yeah, she pointed to him, Quran says, literally, and they said, how can a baby in the cradle speak? Right? Okay. By the way, if you are interested, before going into this, keep there. Antaqa is not kallama or yeah, takallum. يتكلم. But kallama means just to speak. Antaqa means speak according to logical consistency. One of the word which is very common in Arabic language, or those people who have Arabic background, or like Turkish, like Urdu, if you know, one word is comes from nutuk. It means making public speech, and also mantiq, logic. Do you understand? That's why antaka means making something speak with logical consistency. No, every being in the universe speaks with logical consistency, which makes sense to you and me, which is wonderful language. But of course, every word of the Quran is really very deliberately to the point. Okay, now, so how the baby in the cradle can speak?
قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب.
Yeah, I am Abdullah, Allah's. How do you say? I am created by Allah so that my job is to acknowledge Him and worship Him. Yeah, Abd means this, Abdullah. Yeah, God is my master. Okay.
آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا.
So He gave me the book, Revelation. Yeah, well, I will give you this explanation also, Atani Kitabi, and made me a Nabi, the prophet. Right? Okay. The following verses.
Yes.
Yeah.
وجعلني مبارك.
That is some more description of it, but we have to understand this part now. All right? Now, أعطاني الكتابة. أعطاني كتابة.
وجعلني.
No, أعطاني الكتابة.
Yes.
Read it. Read it.
وجعلني.
No, أعطاني.
آتاني الكتاب
أعطاني الكتاب.
وجعلني
أعطاني الكتاب. أعطاني الكتاب. Is it?
No, I'm sorry, it's like آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا.
أعطاني الكتاب. I am emphasizing on أعطاني الكتاب. Yeah? Or أعطاني الكتاب.
آتاني الكتاب.
أتاني الكتاب.
Ah. That's what I want to, because grammatically, to say أعطاني الكتاب, it doesn't make sense. But I cannot obtain. Can you bring it to me? Okay. It is here. Let me see this one. Okay. أعطاني الكتاب. Take it. Yeah, that makes sense now. That's what it didn't make sense. So, anyways, he gave me the book. What is the book? The message. Book contains the message of the Creator. So, do we understand that? Do we understand that Kitab includes explanation of what is outside there, right? Kitab, written. Speech of God is there. So every creature is a kitab for a man, a person to read. That's why when the Quran uses the kitab, we say the kitab. If you remember, who remembers? Then when I tell you, you say that I remember this. We mentioned this on various occasions, not very often, but when the Quran uses a kitab, we said it refers to the verbal revelation as well as the universe. Who remembers this?
I remember.
Sorry?
I remember.
You remember. Who else?
I remember.
You remember. You know why? Because everything is a kitab to be read. We may not read it, but it is still read. We put it in the shelf, on the shelf. But the universe is always waiting on the shelf for us to read. It is a book. Yeah? But we don't. Even people read it, but not as a book revealed by the Creator. They read it as it is, but as it exists by itself without an author. So, Atani al-Kitabe does not necessarily mean that, like the Quran or something. But later on he did. He was given the Kitab, like the Quran, which includes speech of the Creator, at the late 2.5 or 3, the historians tell me. Well, the Quran doesn't say. Years of his life, he received verbal revelation and conveyed it to his disciples. But his action, how do you say, actual or practical messengership took place only at the most 3 years, the historians say. Got it? So, but in this scenario, we have to understand that when Maryam pointed to the baby and she wanted, but she did it as a result of inspiration from God. All right, this is in the previous verses mentioned this. We revealed to her this. So fasting means don't speak yourself. You don't need to speak. Universe itself speaks. That's enough for you. That is enough of an evidence for you. Now, if we are a literalist, we will say, really, Jesus spoke in this way. But it may be, I'm not saying no, I'm not denying, but I don't know, maybe so, but that is an obvious result of fasting to point out the universe, everything out there, to be witness for you, to be read as a book. So while we are fasting, we should do what? Nothing else but read the book. Wow. When I reflect on it, I said, wow, I've never heard like this explanation of fasting. So during Ramadan, we were supposed to not to reflect on anything else but only reading the book of the creation. We should be busy with it. That's fasting. So you can eat after sunset. God says, okay, that's enough. This contemplation, you're tired of it now. Can you imagine if there is such a person? So you are tired of reflecting, contemplation. You relax now. After sunset, you can re-establish your relationship with the rest of the world now, and start eating, speaking to your family, and having nice drinking. That is free now. This is a time set between the dawn and dusk. Your fasting means you will be busy with reading the book. Wow. I never understood. I said I must share this with my friends this Wednesday. I don't know whether it was worth it, but it is fasting. It is the same word used in the Quran. Fasting of Maryam, fasting of Ramadan. During Ramadan, it's an intensive reflection time. Fasting. That's why itikaf, the Prophet used to do itikaf. It means going to the mosque or any place which is now not disturbed by worldly things at all, no commerce, no work, anything, but only reflection. Of course, we people, poor people, don't know what to do. We pray without reflecting. We keep the same routine. But action-wise, increase the actions of what we have been doing while we were not fasting. Anyways, instead of, let's say, praying 4 rekah, now we make it 40 rekah. But the quality was the same. That is why it's not really fasting. It's not fasting. Fasting is another dimension. I realized that fasting is a very, very difficult, dense form of worship. That's why fasting is very important. Yeah, prayer is important, but prayer is momentary break in your life. Let's say 5 moments of your daily life is expected to be spared, assigned to reflection, your relationship with God. That is formal prayer. Now, in this form, we are in the physical world, but we have to do it in the physical form with our physical being. So reflecting by standing, by making, bowing, ruku, and going to prostration, physically experiencing it, but to reflect. I don't do it. I'm frankly saying, and I don't feel shy exposing my reality to the people, so I don't do that. Very rare, sometimes occasional moments, but this is occasional. But can you imagine what real fasting should be doing? For example, can you eat during when you are praying? Can you drink? Yeah. Even can you speak as we understand now? Speak. Right? No, we can't. So we have to keep ourselves busy with the meaning of the actions that we are doing here. And recitations, whatever we do that, what I'm saying, what I'm expressing here, what I mean by bowing, standing, whatever, sitting, whatever way I'm doing, prostrating. What does it mean? What do they do? What am I doing this? What am I expressing within myself? Well, how conscious I am what I am doing. This is temporary. Let's say this is like a dot. 5 dots in my daily life. Now, but fasting is not a dot, it is a line. Nowadays, for example, fasting is how many hours? I thought about it, it was 15 and a half hours reflection. And after this reflection, you really need break. Definitely. Oh, come on. I'm tired of this contemplation. Can you have 15 hours work? What do you think afterwards? Definitely, I have to have a coffee break, yes, food, drink, go out, fresh air, something like that. Huh? Oh, man, I said, really, fasting is very, very difficult form of worship. Well, that's why we need to prepare ourselves before Ramadan comes. Get ready, train, do some sort of exercises, so you will just jump into an intensive reflection for 16 hours, 15 hours a day. So, you know the importance of worshiping this way. Now, as an extension of it, there is a fasting in 2 days, 3 days, no, form of worship, 3 days with no break. At least during Ramadan, you have a break when sun sets. But while you are performing Hajj, 3 days no break. Ihram means I'm fasting. As long as you are in Ihram, I got the sign, let me see.
84.
You know, when they ring the bell when the money market closes. How is the stock market closes? So, welcome to the new chapter. I knew it was going to. But it was to me, it was a best experience of the day for me. I was excited about it. I shared with you. Thank you very much. Look, I brought something for you, but if you don't mind, it is against Sunnah, as I always make joke of it.
Do you want to end that, please?
Yeah, before you go, let me finish close the session today, the class today, inshallah. Next Wednesday, inshallah, we will jump into this one. 2 things, iftar and the mentioning about or talking about Saturday classes, the place of Saturday classes, venue. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم إن الحمد لله رب العالمين.